remorse, tormented by the belief that he had betrayed the trust of the person he loved most. The isolation from his family felt like a merciless moral sentence, driving him to consider abandoning acting altogether under the crushing weight of guilt. Today, Danny has shed his troubled past and rebuilt his life in Donegal. He has found peace alongside his wife and children, while slowly repairing the bond with his father. His return stands as quiet proof that trust can be restored, if one has the courage to rise, take responsibility, and grow beyond one's mistakes. Susie Blake as Hilary Nicholson.
Here, Mrs. Nicholson, how do you clean dead flies off your flapper?
Veteran actress Susie Blake brought elegance and razor-sharp wit to the role of Hilary Nicholson, the aristocratic neighbor who constantly clashed with Agnes. Her refined British accent and poised demeanor created a perfect comedic contrast, turning Hilary into a delightfully memorable antagonist, one audiences could never forget, and an essential piece of the show's comic tapestry.
When he found out I was pregnant, he bought me this diamond ring.
That's nice.
And then when I was 5 months pregnant, he took me away for the weekend to Paris. That's France.
Yet beneath that formidable exterior, Susie was quietly fighting a battle for her life. In 2018, doctors delivered what felt like a death sentence, a diagnosis of stage 2 throat cancer. Treatment plunged her into a living nightmare. 35 consecutive rounds of radiotherapy that stripped her of her voice for months on end. As if that ordeal were not enough, in 2020 she endured another devastating blow when her beloved mother passed away at the age of 99, right in the heart of the pandemic, leaving Susie painfully alone in a world turned upside down.
I'm sorry. I'm finding it very hard to hear. I'm in a bad area.
Grief compounded upon suffering, Susie slipped into deep depression during the isolating months of lockdown. She later confessed that for the first time in her life she experienced loneliness as a physical sensation, an invisible monster gnawing relentlessly at her core. Living alone in an empty house, unable to see anyone, battling the after-effects of cancer while mourning her mother, she felt utterly abandoned by the world. The suffocating silence of her home stood in stark contrast to the thunderous applause she once knew, pulling the actress into a pit of despair where her voice felt fragile and powerless against an unforgiving fate. Having survived both death's door and unimaginable loss, Susie Blake eventually returned to the stage with extraordinary resilience. Her voice may no longer carry the same strength as before, but her presence alone stands as living proof of human endurance. She is a true warrior, and her legacy will remain a lasting source of inspiration for anyone facing adversity. Damian McKiernan as Rory Brown. Damian McKiernan bravely stepped into the enormous shoes left behind by his predecessor to take on the role of Rory Brown. Rather than imitating the original performance, he offered a distinctly different interpretation, quieter, gentler, and far more introspective. This shift gave the character a fresh emotional dimension, allowing Rory to feel more grounded and relatable to open-minded viewers. Accepting the role also meant turning himself into a lightning rod for public outrage. Damian faced not only professional pressure, but also a brutal backlash from extremist fans. For 5 relentless years, he was trapped in a storm of online hostility, where thousands of vicious comments branded him a fraud and dismissed every ounce of his artistic effort. Living under the towering shadow of his predecessor, while enduring constant anonymous attacks, dealt a serious blow to his self-worth. The psychological torment of the digital world pushed Damian to the brink of collapse. He described the ordeal as being tied up and beaten while the crowd cheers. The fear of being despised forced him to withdraw inward, at times leaving him wanting to abandon everything and flee the spotlight altogether. Keyboard cruelty robbed him of the joy of acting and steadily eroded his mental health, planting deep doubts about his own abilities. It was a profoundly unequal battle, one in which the victim was denied recognition and left to silently swallow tears each time the phone screen lit up with another wave of abuse. Today, Damien has found a new path by stepping behind the scenes to focus on writing and directing. He has transformed his psychological scars into hard-earned lessons, working to protect younger actors from the harm of online bullying. His resilience has become his strongest shield against the cruelty of public judgment. As the curtain falls, what remains is not only laughter, but deep respect for the artists who turned private pain